Welcome to today's video. Remember to like and subscribe to keep up with all the new content. Do you have any thoughts on Christianity, the Bible, Jesus, abusive parents, or toxic relationships? Send me a message and let's jump into today's video. Are you afraid of the dark and feel anxious in confined spaces? If so, you're not alone. These fears are common, affecting adults as well as children. I, for one, struggled with these fears from a young age. Until I was 2 years old, I could only fall asleep in complete darkness. However, a terrifying experience one night changed everything. From that night on, I needed to keep the lights on for 30 years. The mere thought of being in a tight space or sleeping without the lights on would trigger a severe panic attack. I lived with a paralyzing fear of the dark for 30 years without understanding its origins. My mother often wondered how I transitioned from being a toddler who could only fall asleep in total darkness to a child, and later an adult who panicked in dark rooms. It wasn't until my early 30s, when I embraced Torah, that things began to change. Despite not knowing what had happened to me on that fateful night, the more I immersed myself in Torah teachings, the less frightened I became of sleeping with the lights off. Then, one day, seemingly out of nowhere, I could sleep without the lights on for the first time since I was 2 years old, and I've been able to do so ever since. I've asked Jehovah many times about what happened that night. Sometimes I had strange memories of someone holding me tight to the point of struggling to breathe. But then, one day, I suddenly started recalling the details. I remember the door to my room opening while I lay in my crib. The light from the hallway and the sounds from the living room, where my mother, brother, and father were watching a movie, spilled into the room. The door quickly shut, and in my tired state, I could barely recognize who had entered. I felt safe, seeing it was my father. As he approached the crib in the dark, I heard him whisper, "I'm sorry I have to do this, but there's no other way. Your brother deserves all the attention." Then, I felt his strong hands pinning me down and a pillow being placed over my face. The terror of not being able to breathe while being held down and unable to move paralyzed me. I screamed so loud that my father panicked and ran out of the room. He opened the door, stepped into the hallway, and turned around just as my mother came running. After my father's passing in 2017, I found myself slowly recollecting these memories I had otherwise suppressed. The process was understandably challenging, but as I revisited these memories, I realized that they no longer held the power to impact me negatively. This resurgence of memory became a valuable opportunity to confront the emotions and fears associated with that period of my life, ultimately allowing me to release their hold on me. Understanding the origins of my fear of the dark and claustrophobia has been transformative. I can now separate these past experiences from my present reality, so I no longer carry those fears. Knowing I've overcome these once dominant fears and moved forward is empowering. Why was I not able to remember this until after his passing? I don't know why Jehovah chose not to reveal this to me until after his passing, but I had to be in a place in my life where I could handle it, and this is where I am now. What I do know is this. At the moment I turned to Torah in my early 30s, Jehovah removed my fear of the dark, and not long after that, my claustrophobia disappeared as well. Today, life is good, and I am still sleeping with the lights off and able to enter tight spaces, all because of the Torah. What my story goes to prove is this: no trauma is too significant for our God Jehovah, not even your father attempting to take your life. There is hope and healing for those who desire the Torah. Remember to like and subscribe to keep up with all the new content. Do you have any thoughts on Christianity, the Bible, Jesus, abusive parents, or toxic relationships? Send me a message and God bless.